All right, guys. Our next guest is the real-life Karate Kid, one of the most creative strikers in the UFC with wins over Rory McDonald, Johnny Hendricks, Jake Ellenberger, Jorge Masvidal, and Robert Whittaker. He now joins us on the program. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, welcome back to Submission Radio. And look at you. You're behind the wheel. Looks like you're going for a bit of a cruise.
Yeah, man. You know, I'm glad to be on. Love chatting with you guys. I literally just got done training. So got some training, got some physical therapy on my knee today, and did some strength and conditioning with my coach. So getting back in the swing of things, man.
Nice. Well, good. We want to know that Wonderboy Thompson is around the corner from his return. We'll talk about all of that in a moment, but just quickly, the most important question, something we've wanted to ask you for a while. Have you watched the YouTube Red series Cobra Kai yet?
Oh, dude, I love that show, and they're coming out with another season.
Yes.
Oh,
They're coming out with another season. I'm super excited about it. I love the whole 80s vibe that it has. You know, it brings back the memories of the first Karate Kid, you know? So, yeah, man, it's like, it's kind of like a switching roles. Like they're both kind of good guys now. You kind of get in the mindset of what his thoughts were back when he was in high school, and how his instructor kind of taught him kind of tough, you know, that tough love type deal, and that's how he's doing with his students. Have you seen it yet?
We've been addicted to it. We binge watch that show. What a great program. If you had to kind of look at the UFC, who do you think would be the Daniel LaRusso and the Johnny Lawrence of the UFC? If you said I had to pick one. Anyone stand out to you?
Shoot, dude. I would say like Sage Northcutt as just with looks wise, personality wise, I think he would be the Karate Kid.
Yeah.
But look wise, he looked like, you know, he would be, you know, Cobra Kai. He looks like he would be, you know, just with looks. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Shoot, but nobody really pops, man. What about you guys?
Johnny Lawrence.
I feel like he'd be a good for the Karate Kid in the movie, but
I think Covington is Johnny Lawrence.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Chael Sonnen maybe.
I was gonna say like Nate
Sonnen,
Diaz
yes.
maybe, but I think you hit the nail on the head with Covington. I think that's probably the best one.
Yeah, I agree with you. Well, do you know when the second season's coming out?
We're not sure, but we were hoping you'd be a part of it. Has anyone reached out to you to maybe be a part of that season? You'd be perfect.
Nothing yet. I would love to. You know, I would love to. Just did a pretty cool commercial with TJ Dillashaw with the Van Heusen. I don't know if you guys saw that commercial at all, but it was pretty cool for their flex suits. They have these flex suits. We did a TV commercial for them. If you go to my Instagram, Wonderboy MMA, I have got it on there. Pretty cool fight scenes, man. So, hey, you know, maybe lead to something a little bit bigger. Make it a leading role in the next Cobra Kai. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, we were just about to talk to you about that ad because it looks awesome. You're doing your kicks and you're flying through the air in the suits. It kind of reminds me of the old school Chuck Norris kicking pants. Do you remember those ones?
Yeah.
And I thought
I
that.
had a pair of those, man.
Did you?
Yes. My dad had a pair of those. Those were it, man. Like those are the first jeans that actually stretched. They were the first of its kind, you know. It was like, you know, the technology in those jeans like rivaled everything else at the time. And now everything stretches. Like all the jeans stretch now. Everybody wears skinny jeans anyway. They're flexible. Well, it was Chuck Norris stretchy pants that were the first.
I feel like Chuck Norris doesn't get the credibility that he deserves in the fashion world because he's pretty much to thank for the stretchy jeans right now. But you mentioned that you and TJ Dillashaw did a pretty cool ad together. We also saw you were taking selfies with Miss Universe during some shoots as well. What other sort of highlights have you had during your downtime? And how was Miss Universe? Did you teach her a few flying head kicks?
I wish I could have. We were actually on the same set. We had a photo shoot. I modeled for IMG, which is kind of crazy. You know, me being like, I'll be 36 in February. So,
wow.
Which is crazy. You know, a lot of these guys are just young studs. You know what I mean? They're like 21, 22 years old. But, you know, I don't know what they were going to do with somebody my age. But, hey, I'm along for the ride, right? But, yeah, I was in a photo shoot. And I look over. I'm like, man, that's Miss Universe right there. So I got to meet her. We got to take a picture. She was super awesome. She's Miss South Africa. And very, very sexy, you know, accent. I just had to say that. hopefully she'll tune in and listen to that. But I think she's dating, which is cool. Which is kind of crap. I posted up a picture of us on social media. And it was like, oh man, she's hot, blah blah blah. Of course, all the MMA fans are asking if I'm banging her. You know what I mean? They weren't even nice about it. They're like, so you're banging her, right? I'm like, dude, chill out, bro.
We'll ask you in a second as well, Steven. No, just kidding.
But then I heard she's dating like Tim Tebow or something like that. So I was kind of disappointed. I was like, man, But she's a very beautiful lady, man. Very beautiful indeed. So I didn't really have enough time to kind of, hang out too much. But it was fun, man. It was fun. So my downtime has been great, healing up. Going back, I'm at the gym, sorry, I had covered my camera up.
That's all right.
Just working on, different stuff, trying to add on to my game, and trying to hopefully next time I step out in the octagon, I'll be surprising some people with some different stuff. Everybody knows that I'm known for my stand-up, but working a lot on my offensive wrestling instead of my defensive wrestling. So, next time I step out in the octagon, I want my opponents to know that I have that as well. Because I think of right now, there's a lot of guys that most everybody in my division knows for a fact I'm going to try and keep it standing. I have this wrestling that I've been working on for the longest time, but I very rarely use it. I think last time I really used my wrestling was, I think, Jake Ellenberger, but also Chris Clements. I took him down 2 or 3 times in the fight. But then, after the fight, there was a lot of athletes. They said, that was a good fight. You use your wrestling a lot, but remember what got you here. I was like, it was my striking, knocking dudes out. They're like, well, make sure you're not, you're going out there wrestling just to wrestle. Do what you do best. So I went back and I just kind of focused more on my striking, still work on my wrestling, but that's kind of mostly what everybody's seen since I've stepped in the octagon. But I want to show my wrestling. I really do. I want my opponent, especially at the top of the game, to not only be worried about the striking. You know what I mean? That there is wrestling there. So I've been working on that, obviously drilling. I ended up tearing my MCL the last fight, and for some reason, it's been giving me a hard time. I've had 4 knee surgeries on that knee, so it's been giving me a hard time this past few months. But it's slowly, the swelling still, after a workout, it swells up, but it's slowly going back to normal. So I just got to be careful on it.
I can't wait to see this new NCAA version of Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. But I got to ask, when did this sort of come into your mind that you need to focus more on your wrestling, and how much of it had to do with, I guess, the result of the Darren Till fight?
I think the majority of it was that. I ended up taking Darren Till, taking him down pretty easily in I think it was a 4th round, maybe 5th round, I'm not sure. But it was an easy takedown. He got up very well. But during the fight, I wasn't able to move a whole lot. I guess as you can tell, I wasn't able to use my movement too well because of the torn MCL. My knee felt really unstable in that fight. And I felt, I went back after the fight. I was like, you know what? If I use my wrestling a little bit more, I think maybe would have changed the outcome. I thought I won the fight anyway. But, just to throw another element out there for these guys to think about, instead of just my striking. And I felt like I could have taken him down more. I don't know why I didn't, because he literally stood right in front of me. He gave me his hips up. Every time I threw a punch, I would hit him 1 or 2 times, but he would lean way back, and his hips are right there, And most of the time when I spar, I focus on keeping it standing. So I do use my wrestling when I spar. I simulate a lot of my teammates' opponents, and I use my wrestling a lot. But when it usually comes down to my training camps, I try and keep it standing. So just working on that mostly. Just when I am sparring, to try and get 1 or 2 or 3 takedowns in. And I think because if it's there, why not take it? Why not take him down? That just gives him something else in the octagon to think about. I may keep the fight standing in the 1st round. In the 2nd round, I get you down. I take you down. What you going to think about? What am I going to do the 3rd round? That's what I want these guys to think. What's this guy going to do? So, I'm saying it to you because I feel confident. It really doesn't matter if my opponents know or not, because I can still keep it standing, or I can take it to the ground. Which one am I going to do, guys? I have no idea.
That whole
after that fight, it did kind of like, it got me thinking.
That whole situation was pretty crazy for you because you went all the way over there. You were dealing with not being 100%, and also Darren missed weight. Looking back on it, I mean, you took the fight, and so many people in the MMA community have so much respect for you taking on Darren Till to begin with, accepting the fight because a lot of people believe that you could have gotten a bigger name, and then going all the way over to him, and then him missing weight, and then you taking that fight, and then you being so gracious in defeat. But looking at that fight, do you think he had much of a sort of advantage of the fact that he was a little bit over in weight going in there against you?
You know what? He most of the guys that I fight in the UFC, when I hit them or he was a bigger body than what I'm used to. He wasn't the strongest opponent. Tyron's definitely stronger. But he was a bigger body than what I was used to in the octagon. But I spar guys who fight 205. My buddy Carl Reed, he's a 205er, man. He walks around about 230, 240, and I spar with him on a regular basis. So I don't think that it was just a whole, scheme of things that just kind of messed with you a little bit. I'm not the type of guy that be throwing out excuses or anything. Fighting over there in his territory, for one, fighting a guy way lower ranked than you, which I didn't want to take in the first place. Because of that, going to his hometown to do so, then the guy doesn't make weight, so the fight's off. No, then the fight's on. No, and then it's back off again. That's like, man, I was like, man, what's going on? So that kind of messed with you a little bit, but I try and shut that out. It's like, listen, I want to treat this as I am going to fight this guy, so I got to stay focused. But in the background, you're hearing all this mess. It was a fiasco. And then he's fighting for the title. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I was going to ask you, going through all that, I mean, you're probably the nicest guy in the game, and you've always been so gracious to us and to all the fans and to all the opponents. But do you have any regrets with not pulling the plug on that one at some point? Like, I believe we've spoken to many fighters, and they'd say, if a fighter's overweight, we're not fighting him, let alone everything that you had to go through in that ordeal, and especially with a guy who's ranked lower than you.
Yeah, man. When I got over there and all that happened, I'm a fighter. And, man, I'm going to do this as long as my body will let me. And the money's just the bonus. Like, I could stop fighting right now and just do what I love to do, and that's teaching. I just like the competition. I like to go out there and try to impose your will on somebody else. It's the ultimate sport. I mean, when you think about it, you get all these other athletes, football players, baseball players, basketball players. They're huge fans of MMA. That's something they want to do, but they can't do it. It's like the ultimate sport. And when it comes down to it, if I, in the primal days, if I can take what you have, if I can beat you, I can take everything you got. You know what I mean? So it's like the ultimate thing. It's what the gladiators did back in the day, man. Like, if I can beat you, if I can, beat you down and kill you, I can take whatever you got. And like these other athletes, they kind of see it as this is the manliest manly sport. Basketball is not, football is not. It's fighting, and you can tell because all these other fans are huge athletes of it, and a lot of these guys they want to be that fighter. They want to be a fighter. So I do it for that reason, for the honor and for the glory. And I went out there, and even though this guy didn't make weight, I went through a 6 to 8 week training camp. And I had people that spent their money, flying over there to watch, to support me. So, I didn't want to let them down. I didn't want to let the fans in Liverpool down. Of course, they booed me walking out, but they were also hyping me as they were booing me. It's like, boo, give me a high five, man. And the fans were great. I mean, leading up to the fight, I was there for a week before the fight. Everybody was awesome, man. I knew the day of the fight they were going to be for Till, but I wanted to go out there and fight, man, and see what I had. Didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. Got injured in the first round, and now I'm still healing up from it. And that's one thing that, I've had 4 knee surgeries on my left. I torn every ligament in my left leg. And it was like when I was out there fighting, that's just another thing that you shouldn't be thinking about when you're out there, is a dang hurt freaking knee. And I was afraid if I got hit with another side kick that it would just be gone. And there goes my career, it'd be over. So I had to kind of play it safe a little bit and not move around as much, but kind of took away a lot of my combinations. And, that's what I'm known for is my movement, So, it is what it is. And you got to go back and just improve, man. That's all you can do. And I think that's what, if you have that mindset, that keeps you at the top of the game. A lot of these guys that get up there at the top, they just kind of plateau. They're really not thinking about how they're improving, because they're already at the top. So you see a lot of these guys just kind of drop to the wayside, and I don't want to be that guy.
Best karate teacher ever. I wish you were my karate teacher back in the day. Let me quickly ask you this. You just mentioned, you just made a bit of a noise when you said, Darren Till's got the next title shot. There has been some commotion around this because he didn't really make weight for your fight, and now he's got the title shot, and there's questions around the fact whether he's even going to make weight for this fight. What was your reaction when you first saw that Darren Till was fighting for the title, and do you think he deserves the title shot?
Do I think he deserves? No, I really don't. This is a professional sport. And making weight is part of the job. You agreed to make the weight. I mean, it's like the, Robert Whittaker and Yoel Romero. If you don't make weight, you don't fight for the title. I think it should be the same. If you don't make weight, you don't move up the rankings. It's part of the job. You signed a contract to be that weight. And by God, you should make it. You should make it. And he was bragging about it weeks before the fight, how he's this massive 170, how the UFC should be allowing him to fight, which made him look even worse because he did make weight, and that was 171. I mean, how was he going to make 170? And so that, yeah, man, I would definitely be questioning that as a fan, but also as for the UFC. So for him to actually be fighting for the title, man, it's like they're wondering why people aren't making weight because there's no consequences. Yeah, sure. I mean, he wasn't getting paid much for that fight, so of course he won't make weight, give 20 or 30% of the purse or whatever it was to move up the rankings. So now, I mean, he's probably getting crazy money to fight that. So I bet you it was worth it, And the UFC is like, why are these guys making weight? Because there's no consequences. No real consequences. A lot of these people will give them 30% to move up the rankings because their next fight will be more money. It's just a sacrifice at the moment to, for a bigger gain later on.
I wanted to ask you, just because you have fought both of them, both Woodley and Till, how do you see that fight going? Obviously, with the assumption that Darren Till does make weight, if he does make weight for this fight.
If he does make weight, Tyron's a very powerful, very strong athlete, very explosive. Darren Till's a big-bodied guy, and he's very, very aggressive. It could go both ways. I can give you the positives for both guys. I mean, Darren Till, he's a big body, like I said. So he's very heavy, and he's aggressive. Tyron, he doesn't do well against those aggressive guys, especially who are just kind of in their face. And Darren's very long. I think it's for fear of Tyron, gassing out maybe. That's why he doesn't I guess that's why he doesn't do well against those aggressive guys. So Darren Till definitely has the body, the mass to really push Tyron and tire him out, But on the other hand, Tyron Woodley, a very intelligent guy. He is very cerebral when it comes to breaking down fighters. So he's not going to be stupid. Darren Till, he gives up his hips. Every time you throw a punch, he leans way back and his hips are there. I think Tyron's going to use that right hand. If he doesn't knock him out with it, he's going to set it up to take him down. And he's got the power to be able to hold Darren down. Even though Darren Till is showing photos on his Instagram, as people were posting up that he's got some of the best jiu-jitsu guys in the world, helping him out. But this close to fight time, it's not going to make a difference. You may get picked up little tiny stuff here and there, but you should be, to really make a difference, you'll have to work with these guys for like a year, for months on end to actually to see some results of that. But I think he's just posting stuff up like that to show Tyron that, oh, I got this world class grappler. I dare you to take me down. But I don't think it's going to make a difference. I think man, it's to be honest with you, this is a very difficult match to pick. Yeah, you got me thinking, man, because I don't know. I mean, Tyron's right hand is there just to put you away. He's got that, like I said, one hitter quitter power, just knock you out with it, as you've seen him do in the past. But Darren Till is a very hungry fighter. So I'm excited, man. I will be there, sitting in front of my TV, watching away. I hear if it doesn't make weight, Tyron's saying that he'll fight Till. If he doesn't make weight. But I know Usman is going to be there for backup. I know Usman's going to be there for backup. So we'll see what happens, man. I'm very interested on how this is going to go down. If he doesn't make weight, not surprised. It's the second time missing weight with me. So we'll see. That was 171, not even 170. So.
It's fascinating. We want to talk about what's next for you, Stephen, but just quickly, while we're getting fun predictions for grapplers versus strikers, UFC 229 right around the corner. Who do you have for the big blockbuster between Conor McGregor and Khabib? Have you picked someone for that one?
No, I have not. I hate predictions.
It's a tough one. This is probably as tough as it gets.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, when you look at it and you look at each fighter, and you kind of look at some of their fights in the past, Khabib has been very consistent with the way he fights and the way he's been smashing dudes. Very good strikers as well. Edmund Barbosa, I mean, he just grinded him out. He's one of the best in the 155 division striking-wise. He's been very consistent. Conor McGregor, he's not guys out, obviously, but he doesn't do very well with that aggressive of wrestlers. I mean, when you saw against Chad Mendes, it was like a 2 weeks notice. So that guy wasn't in shape. He faded at the end, and Conor knocked him out. Khabib, guaranteed he's coming in shape. And not only that, he's a very, very big 155er. I hear that he walks around about 200 pounds. And he fights at 155. It's ridiculous. Kevin Lee's the same, 155er. He walks around about 200 pounds is what I hear. I don't know if it's true or not. That's just a rumor. So, if you look at it, that line kind of leans a little bit towards Khabib, just because his consistency with his grappling and the way he's been treating dudes, and he's just relentless. His cardio is through the roof. But then you think everybody who should have beat Conor has been knocked out. He knocked out. So I think if Conor touches him with that left hand, you don't know what's going to happen. But that's the thing. Nate Diaz is not the best grappler in the 155 division, but he submitted him. So, that needle's kind of leaning a little bit towards Khabib to me. I would love to see Conor go out there and do work. Like, let's go, Conor. But at the same time, like Khabib, man, he's an animal.
As probably one of the premier strikers in the UFC, how do you rate McGregor's striking when you watch him do his thing? Is he right up there for you?
Oh yeah, one of the top. I mean, he's definitely probably one of the best strikers. And it's not because, Edmund Barbosa has got great striking. He's very explosive, very fast, man, and just like amazing technique. But McGregor, you can see when he's out there, he's a very calm fighter, very calm. When you watch Barbosa, he's very, kind of jittery at sometimes. I think he wears himself out because he's that way. He's very tense. Carter's very relaxed. So you can tell he's not really thinking, but his reaction time is money. He's got awesome reaction time and pinpoint accuracy with his left hand. When he fought Jose Aldo, he used his move. His movement won him that fight. His movement did. He went out there and he was like throwing a lot of feints. He would move in and out, luring Jose Aldo to throw that backhand, and he did. He just fell right into his game. He leaned a little too far, which is what McGregor wanted, and knocked him out. And he did that with his movement. If you go back and watch that fight, it was very, very cool. Very, very intelligent fight.
We obviously got to talk about yourself, man, because there are rumors swirling that Robbie Lawler potentially is the next guy that you'll be facing, that apparently the UFC are targeting you versus Robbie Lawler on their first ESPN card. But we saw that apparently you claim that those reports are far from true. So I guess, did the UFC approach you with this fight, and where exactly is it at the moment?
Well, I mean, it was definitely talked about. It was definitely talked about. And this has been the fight I've wanted for a while now. I'm a big fan of Robbie. You know, I've watched him in his Strike Force days, and, you know, just a slugger, bro. And he's always game, man, when he goes out there and just goes. So very exciting fight. I've always wanted to fight him. And one, I wanted to fight him because he was the champion, you know, and he's a good striker. And I love to go out there and face good strikers as well. So just to test mine. So that's definitely the fight I want. But it was talked about, never really gone past that, you know, kind of like going through fighters, you know, what about this guy? What about that guy? I think you and, you know, Robbie Lawler would be a great fight. And I don't know how it even got out there. I mean, it blew up social media, and it got me excited there for a second. Like, I'm like, you know, I'm seeing all this stuff. I was like, dude, is this really happening? You know, what's going on? You know, I was like, heck yeah. But yeah, man, it really, no contracts, nothing, man. And I know he's just had knee surgery, so he may or might not be ready in January. It's kind of up in the air, to be honest with you. I don't know who I'll be fighting next. Could be Robbie, could be Colby, it could be RDA. I have no idea, bro. But you know what? I'm ready for whoever. Man. If it's Robbie, if it's Colby, if it's RDA, I don't care, man. I'm excited to get back out there and do it again, you know, just to prove myself, especially after that last fight, it being so close. I've had so many razor close fights, man. Like, dadgummit. So, you know, and the thing is, everybody's looking at me and saying, hey, why don't you go out there and knock out dudes like you used to? I was like, first off, you go out there and do it. You know what I mean? These guys aren't just anybody, man. They're the top guys in the top 10, in the top 5, as a matter of fact. You know what I mean? The top 10. Because in the world, these guys are the best in the freaking world. So, you know, it's difficult. These guys are smarter, they're faster, they're, you know, they're world-class level, man. So it is very difficult. But, you know, you can go. I can knock them out like I did everybody. You know, like I did the guys in the past. So I just gotta find the right moment, man. And when you're stepping out there with somebody like that, it's literally that microsecond that makes all the difference. So yeah, man. I it's cool to think that, you know, 20 years from now, hopefully I'm still alive then, I can tell my grandkids or my kids, you know what, I fought the best guys in the freaking world, you know? Like, I was one of the best fighters in the world, man. That's, you know, not very many people can say that. That's pretty cool, I think. You know? Not only that, but then you look at Cormier, he's got 2 freaking belts. It's like, what the heck? You know, I want to be like that guy. And he's what, almost 40?
You know what? I haven't checked his age recently. I think he's either 39 or 40. He's one of them. I think 39 or 40.
So I got plenty of time.
You got plenty of time. Well, you beat Robert Whittaker. He's the middleweight champion, so it's not unrealistic. I was going to say, though, with this timeline for this, you know, it could be Robbie Lawler, RDA, Colby Covington, we don't know, but what is the timeline? You say you're sort of itching to get back in there. They're targeting potentially January. Is January sort of the go time for you, or could you fight early, or are you still sort of recovering?
I would say January would definitely be the time, or maybe early December, around that December, January time. Just to make sure everything's right, man, with my knee, getting that MCL where it needs to be, trying to get the swelling down. Because right now what happens is after I work out, or sometimes in the middle of a workout, it starts to swell. I'm like, dadgummit, which kind of leads me to believe, is there something else messed up in the knee? You know, is there a torn meniscus, or is it, because they took 40% of my meniscus out the first surgery I had. So is it just arthritis? Is it just the bone on bone that's irritating this thing? But when there's swelling in the joint, the muscles don't fire like they should. So when the joint starts to swell and you start to move it around, and I tweak my knee a little bit, those muscles won't be there to support it, and that's when those major injuries start coming. So I just got to make sure that, you know, I got to be smart with my training at the age that I am now, which I'm not. I don't think I'm old at all. I feel like I'm 21, you know, and I really do. But I still have to be careful. I got to realize that I am not 21 anymore. So, you know, I got to make sure I warm up correctly. I got to make sure I take care of my body at this point, eating right, taking the right supplements just to make everything work right, you know. And my knee being 100% is at the top of the list right now. Last thing I want to do, take a fight too early, knee's not right, blowing everything out, and I screw my fans out of potential fights, you know, awesome fights in the future. So, man, December, January is what I'm looking at.
Awesome. Well, it's exciting times. As we wrap up, Steven, just got to double check that Baron and Bella, your dogs, won't keep you up all night, because we saw on Instagram, these guys don't mess around when it comes to playing around.
No, man. I've got a King Corso and I've got a Pit Bull, and they're brother and sister, obviously. I got the male is the King Corso, the Pit Bull is the female. But let me tell you, man, the female runs the relationship. Golly. She's the one that she growls as if she's transforming into a werewolf. It sounds horrible, like she's getting ready to eat somebody's face. So I'll take them to the dog park, and the dog park would be packed, and they do great with other dogs. But when I show up, everybody packs up their dogs and leaves. So it's like, oh man, nobody wants to play with you. But hey, we got the dog park to ourselves. So yeah, it's funny, man. It really is. And they literally are, you know, they're baby dolls, man. They're sweet as can be. As long as you're allowed in my house, you're good to go. If you're not supposed to be in my house, you're not supposed to be there, then you'll probably die, because they do their job very well. They do, man. I actually, when my King Corso was about 2 years old, the female next door went into heat. My neighbor had a dog, and he ate a hole in my sheetrock, like the size of me.
Whoa.
His kennel was upstairs in my room. Ate a hole in my sheet. He got out of his kennel. There was a metal crate. He mangled it, got out, ate a hole in my sheetrock to get to this female. So one, that was like, all right, dude, I'm getting you fixed, bro. I'm sorry. I'm taking your balls from you, bro. As much as I don't like it. And two, like, I had some guys show up early one morning to go up there and fix the sheetrock. Well, it was about 7:00 a.m. I had put Baron in my garage, but I didn't close the door all the way, which is a mistake on me, because as I opened the door, Baron was coming around the corner, but the guys that I had fixed my sheetrock didn't say, hey, we're here to fix your sheetrock. They just walked on in. Like, I'm like, dude. So one, you're coming to my house. Two, Baron can kind of sense my distress, you know, like, what are you doing? Like, he took off after them, man. And these dudes ran upstairs, and thank goodness I'm fast. I grabbed him by his hips, and he's chomping at their feet. You hear him just bite down. And these dudes run upstairs and lock themselves in my bonus room, man. They were like, you know, just went up there and just hid, man. I was like, I put them up. I was like, guys, that's what you get. Like, when you come to somebody else's house, let me know why you're here. Don't just start coming in my house, you know?
Wow.
Like, oh, man, I'm so sorry, man. You know, we're just in a rush, in a hurry. It's like, come on, man. But it scared the crap out of them. It was so freaking funny, man. But yeah, they do their job well, but they're awesome, man. They're awesome. I'll post up some more stuff, so don't worry.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, everybody can check out Instagram and Twitter at Wonderboy MMA. Steven, thank you so much for your time, especially after a big karate class. We appreciate it. We can't wait to see what happens next. And hopefully that second season of Cobra Kai isn't too far away.
Yes, man. Yes. We got to get back on and chat about that, to be honest. But hopefully we'll find out soon what's happening next, and hopefully we can be back on and chat about it if you're down.
Always, man. It's always an honor to have you on, man. We appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you,
Anytime,
Steven.
Guys.
Have a good night.
You guys have a good one.